And we are live. This is the first official Six Balls podcast, isn't it? Because I think we tried to do this as an end of year review last year. And the point fingers right at you, Alex. I think did not turn up.
I felt that one. I wasn't sure whether we were actually supposed to line one up in person as well. I'm pretty sure we were, but that never came through. Probably my fault again. I'll take it.
You get to the sand pit and we'll get it locked in. I can't believe it's been a year since that.
Yeah, that's absolutely wild, isn't it? So we've got Alex and Simon on. We're on. I think we've decided that I'm going to host this one, right? So this could have went anyway because we've all got
10 seconds ago we decided this.
As we were chatting shit. So I think this might be episode 10 of Recomp Radio. But what we're going to be doing is between the clients, we're going to be talking about some of the embarrassing stories that have either been firsthand or some great stories that clients have told us over the years of PTing. Because face-to-face PT, or even just working with people in general, you get to hear some great stories. And but before we kick that off, a little bit of life update. What's happening, boys?
I'm in Dubai. It's actually a nice temperature now, so I'm not sweating 24/7. Going to rugby sevens this weekend.
Oh, go on the boy.
That's what I'm keen
Nice.
for. Very, very keen for. So, something to tick off the bucket list. It's been on there for a while, so looking forward to
Class. I'm not in Dubai. It's not. it's not hot. It's really cold. And I'm prepping for a photo shoot. So I'm really skinny at the moment and I'm freezing cold and hungry.
When's the shoot?
Going right there.
It's officially 11 days. 11 days booked for a Monday. Who on earth books a shoot for a Monday? But anyway, 11 days now. So I'm heavily in the trenches, in the rain, in the like the worst scenario now is just grind time now. So although I say that, to be fair, I feel like I've coasted a lot of it. It's not been too hard. We've played a bit of a different strategy on this one, which has been nice. So we've carried it through nice, but I'm very pleased to get it done because every brownie that I've seen, every muffin that I've seen, any baked good that I have seen has just looked, genuine dribble has happened. So bad. Even yesterday, like I was in a coffee shop yesterday, like just working, and this woman just rocked up with this absolute slab of what looked like Biscoff brownie Rocky Road mixture concoction, and I was just staring at it like, oh my gosh.
That does become a level of porn, doesn't it, when you're in the deep end of a diet?
Yeah, it was tough, but that's where I'm at right now. Looking forward to get it done.
You're going to hate me even more. Long bike days, long training days. Obviously, an Ironman prep, I'm like 5K, 6K cows.
Seeing all the pasta down.
Literally.
Yeah.
I'm 200 grams of carbs in powder down before 10 a.m.
I'm not allowed to eat before 12. Kev, what about you, mate? What's new in your world?
Nothing wild, mate. Nothing wild. I'm just off the back of a presentation to a bunch of coaches this morning, so I am highly caffeinated. And what have we got coming up? I love the fact that you're moaning about the temperature. It is significantly colder up here, and yeah, I'm definitely missing the desert myself. But yeah, client night out this weekend, so looking forward to that. A little celebration for a year well done, and then yeah, just got lining some big things up with client. Actually, talking about photo shoots, we're lining up some client photo shoots for early next year. So nothing
Nice.
overly exciting to report, but yeah, wrapping up a very good year. I think last year we done this podcast. I think it was me and Simon. It was like 2021 reflections. I think it was, wasn't it? Like lessons and whatnot that we've learned, which was quite good actually. I've listened back to that, and it was quite nice to see like the thought process of wrapping up the year. This time of the year, December going forwards, I think a lot of people can. I don't want to say mentally check out of the process, right? But unless there's a short-term goal, it's a much more relaxed month. So rather than do reflections, which is a very good time to do, I think we're just trying to make this episode a little bit more entertaining and give you some stories to listen to, whilst hopefully we're still getting some steps in.
Trying to establish how ruthless we can go, where the line is.
Keep it R-rated. Is that?
Yeah, we should be good.
No, we're good. We're good.
Yeah,
We'll be all right. Who's up?
Mine's not necessarily like a weird story, but I haven't got that many from the actual gym floor. was only when I kind of came online and started to push nutrition. Obviously, when you write a meal plan, you write 100 grams chicken, raw weight, blah, 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 blah. I had a client who came back to me about 2.5 weeks into the program. I was like, how everything's going, touch and base. How's your nutrition? Yeah, absolutely fine. Ticking all the boxes, body weight dropping perfectly. He's like, I'm just really struggling with the chicken. I was like, how come? What's up, mate? He's like, I've just never eaten raw chicken before.
Oh my Lord.
Like raw chicken. And he was like, yeah, obviously it said raw chicken on the meal plan. I was like, raw weight, not eating raw chicken.
Oh my God.
Man, I was like, how are you not ill? How have you actually stomached that? But fair play to him. After that, he was a rock star of a client because he followed everything.
Yeah, I was like, if you're willing to eat raw chicken to get in shape, then you like you're in.
I was like, I need to be,
because it's only through things like that. Like you would never think that was even a consideration that you would need to give the instruction to please cook the chicken. But it's only through having things like that you actually learn to make your coaching process airtight. Because, like, to give a very, very similar example, not quite as extreme as raw chicken, but I remember like way back in the day, first starting out, Jade was doing a diet and we had, I think it was 150 grams of veg was with each meal. And I want to say I put something like asparagus in our program, and she's like, I don't like asparagus. She's like, can I change that for salad? I was like, yeah, crack on, like iceberg lettuce, whatever it is. Have you seen 150 grams of iceberg lettuce? It's a fucking wheelbarrow of lettuce. Like, and fair play to her, like, she put a bit of salt and pepper on there and tried to get it down. Just sitting there
Sounds banging, to be fair.
Family salad bowl, trying to work your way through it. It wasn't until I actually seen it in person, I was like, maybe that instruction doesn't quite work out.
I feel like we get these little gaps of where we think this makes complete sense in our heads. And we've had a couple of situations like that. I had one, which was like on the meal plan. It was like, I think it was, God, when was it? It was about 100 grams, right? It was 100 grams of, because I've got serving and then number of servings, right? Anyway, how they were reading it, it was 100 grams of tomatoes and one next to it. And then like weeks down the line, found out that with these meals, they were having one cherry tomato with this meal. And I was like, and it was only again when they sent like a photo, I was like, yeah, really enjoying everything and so on. And there was just this lonely tomato just sitting there, like, I was like, oh, okay, this hasn't been explained well.
I love that. Like, we'll get to some actual, like,
yeah,
I've got some comedy stories that clients have told me about things that have happened in their life that honestly, like, I said this prior to it, like, they will live in my head free forever. They are some of the best stories I've ever heard. But like, just keeping it client focused at the minute in terms of things that they've done. Like the best, like, kind of not reading the description properly story that I've got is one of my clients. She's actually one of my cousins. She's hilarious. She was doing walking lunges, and I think it was either walking lunges or split squats. Either way, she wasn't a fan. She's like, I don't really feel these in my glutes too much. And I was like, right, okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to switch them for a reverse lunge. It's a little bit more hip dominant, and you get a little bit more glutes out of it. And I only actually trained her in person one of her sessions per week, but she was doing like 3 to 4. The rest of the sessions are programmed on the app. There's a nice little video tutorial of exactly how to do the exercise, which she'd obviously decided not to watch. But instead of doing a reverse lunge, which, as the boys on the call know right now, you would just stand on the spot and take a step backwards and then stand back up on the spot, she decided to do walking lunges backwards through the gym. And she just messaged me after the session. Fair play to her for locking it in and doing it. But she messaged me after the session. She's like, Kev, it's quite dangerous, isn't it? Like, just, I was like, in my head, I just couldn't get what she was talking about at the start. She's like, yeah, so I was just doing those reverse lunges, like holding the dumbbells and like looking over my shoulder as a soaking back. I was like, in my head, I just had this picture, you know, like the reverse sound that you get from a lorry.
Yeah, I was just about to say, she got her reversing lights on.
But walking through the gym, these dumbbells, that's absolute comedy gold. But,
oh, that's brilliant.
That's class.
If you're listening to this, just you've got some stories like that, please,
yeah, let us know.
Please message. recomp_online on.
I don't think people realize, obviously, as trainers, as coaches, the stories that you see, because we're dealing with so many people, so different, such a range of personality as well. Like we just see and hear everything, and it's great.
Yeah, there's some funny ones. I had a client who, like, when you get someone who signs up and they're so in, like so keen, so excited. Like I was like, you're going to be an absolute legend. And he's the kind of client who's like, follow everything to an absolute T. He's like, I haven't really done much in the gym before. I was like, you'll be okay. There's training videos to walk you through absolutely everything. Just make sure you film yourself. We'll give you feedback. And super hyped. First training session, first day, doing leg raises. Don't ask me why, but he decided to put a dumbbell between his feet whilst he was doing the leg raises. Bear in mind, literally comes up, mate, drop the dumbbell on his face, ends up in A&E after his first session. And he was like, mate, I've never done leg raises before, but they're dangerous, aren't they? And I was like, when you do with
you're
a dumbbell,
like, listen, if you want quads like mine, you're going to do these.
I want 4 sets of that every single week.
Stop your excuses. Stop your excuses.
It's only when you don't drop it on your face do you warrant the growth that I've seen.
Mate, progressive overload. How many trips can you make to A&E? Mate, I was literally like speechless. When something happens, you're like, how?
Yeah. Funny you say that. Actually, I've got a similar. It's these lessons that make you like they fast track your experience as well, because you wouldn't have thought of that, right? Obviously, it goes without saying, try not to drop a dumbbell on your head, right?
Yeah.
But
he's never done it again.
You're going to learn that once. Stick to it. Like I've chinned myself with a bar before, like doing like push presses where you hit yourself in the chin and stuff. Like it happened. One of my clients, like way back in the day, I think there was still PT in the south side of Glasgow at the time, and on our app just now, lateral raises are a staple for almost all guys that we train. They're a fantastic exercise, but we don't have standing lateral raises on our app, which is a very, very valid exercise, but we've only got them seated. And like you could look into the mechanics of that, and there are certain forces, angles, there's more control. No, the reason we don't have them seated is because a client back in the day decided that he would like to put his Johnson in between 2 dumbbells and actually smashed it up and ended up in the A&E with a bust. And I don't know if obviously you boys are familiar, but if you're listening, there's a thing called run the rack, right? Which is basically where you take the dumbbells and do a lot of reps until it's difficult, and then you start down in the weight. You can go up the dumbbells or back down the dumbbells. The point is that you're pushing beyond failure. You're running the rack, doing lateral raises, and just decided to give up at the very, very top. But rather than just let them drop to the side, he kind of like popped his hips back a little bit and let them
oh my god,
smash together. And
metal dumbbells as well.
Hands down at your hips with dumbbells, like that the proximity to your Johnson is there, and managed to swing it right in between, caught them, and dropped like a bag of potatoes right into the floor. So there's no standing lateral raises in any of our programs as a result, because you only learn that lesson once.
Mate, I think we need health and safety checks for online coaching now.
Yeah. Mate, that makes me.
Where's your risk assessment?
Yeah.
But I remember the old workplace of where I used to be. This is more like not from what a client done exercise wise. So story is, right, we came in on Monday. Now we knew that this wasn't actually one of my clients, but on the gym floor we got to know sort of like all the clientele and so on, and some of them like to party, right? And they came in, this is obviously in a very high establishment, very well to do, very high up people within their careers and so on. Okay, we have to be very super professional. Anyway, client came in, this is on a Monday, got halfway through the session and we're all thinking he's a little bit lively today. Like he's springing up out of the seats. He's like throwing the weights around, a little bit more lively than usual. Anyway, John, one of the trainers, was like, is everything all right? And he was like, yeah, I think I'm still feeling a little bit from this weekend. Got to know that he had absolutely just sent it for the past 48 hours, non-stop, hadn't slept, just been at it, we won't go into detail there, but you can take what you want from that, had been at it for the past 45 hours, came in on a Monday, still absolutely flying, come into a full body GBC session, like PB in sessions, back to back, triple sets, no drama, leaping out the seats. Like, we were like, this is absolutely class, just out of nowhere. It was so funny to watch.
I've actually had this exact same setup.
What's your new pre-workout, bro?
Honestly, I wanted what he was on, because
I had a client in the consultation ask, I can't remember the job, but basically he asked, I know that he had to work, a lot of his hours are quite unsociable hours because a lot of his work was out in China, he's based in the UK, whatever. But he asked straight up, and he's like, listen, both myself and my partner, we love a red wine. Like, what's the setup with red wine and a transformation? I was like, I'm going to be direct with you. It will directly limit the level of results. It's always a compromise. We can definitely compromise and still get results, but it is a compromise. And he's like, right, okay, I'm willing to cut that out. And then literally in the next sentence, he's like, so what about cocaine? And I was like,
yeah,
this is a consultation as well. Like, I've never, and it properly put me back. I was like, I've never had a client be so transparent straight away. And you know, we deal with people, like, it is what it is. But he outright asked me, and I was like, I'm going to be honest, I don't think my insurance would even cover giving any direct on that. So I'm going to, I don't know what you say, is it plead the fifth or whatever? I'm going to not comment on that, but like, off the record, never turn up to a session with that in you. I was like, because I'll tell you to piss off. And I was like, because your heart rate is going to be through the roof. You know, and if I'm getting you to do something like a finisher at the end,
oh yeah,
you know, that's going to elevate it as well. But yeah, totally fine. I want to say coached them for about 2.5 months, and then, like, just out of the blue, rocks up to this session, exact same thing, and I was like, I think he looks ready for a night out. Never mind a full body session here. And it was we were about 4 sets in, and I was just like, Big man, tell me the truth here. What do you have for breakfast? You know? Yeah, sure enough.
Same thing. Literally had exactly the same thing. Same setup, consultation.
As he called it.
Client consultation, was talking about fat loss journey and so on. And he was like, so what's the correlation on this then? So me and my friends, most weekends, we like to do proper hesitant on it. It was like, we like to get on a bit of blow. And I was like, cocaine. He was like, yeah. He was like, is that going to hinder the fat loss at all? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not condoning this.
No, that's the thing. You need to watch out what you're saying, don't you? Because it's like, my trainer told me like three of these and then 2 scrambled eggs. You know what I mean? It's like that. Yeah. Oh, what we said.
Push the expenditure up, that's for sure.
Yeah, two stepping your fat loss away.
Step counts 40k from the house.
Literally. I've had a couple of weird like a couple of very, very weird consultations, as we've obviously branched out kind of like internationally. I've had 2. Like, I've had one guy literally get on a Zoom call with me, consultation, nothing. I just went, hey, how do you do? He's like, yeah, good. Stood up and just stripped off.
Sorry, what? Did he know what he was on the call for? He's thinking he's having an interview there.
Hey, I'm not even talking just like top off. Like, you get the odd person like, yeah, this is what we're working with. Mate, this guy was Starco.
Stripped down.
Like, bollock naked.
What packages do you offer again?
And here's my own fans.
Yeah.
Mate, I was literally like, and end Zoom.
Well, that was it, wasn't it? When the first lockdown hit, you know, there was a lot of like even bigger companies transitioned to doing like online fitness classes where you would turn up, you do like Zumba on the call, and there was a couple of local. And like, I remember the clips going viral because it was basically just like they were doing. It was back before we had the waiting room for Zoom, and it was basically you just clicked the link and you were straight in, and these people like they were doing a fitness class, and then just literally like old men were just sitting in the background, starkers on their computer chair. And just
mate, there's one of a gal who who was going for a shit. Like, she was on a webinar, like a work meeting, and she's like propped her phone up. Like, I went away from the toilet, and
It's
she's like,
so funny.
"Oh, mate, I think that I like that one was like that. He just got, I just ended the call. But one of the weirdest ones I had is a guy came on and he's like, I've had this twice. I don't know if it's something with a cultural thing, because both the people have been Middle East area, and I had it in a taxi and I had it on a consultation. Hey, how you going? Blah 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 blah. So what are your goals? I want to last longer. I'm like, okay, yeah. So, well, I'm like, so
You're not talking about.
I rate it.
You're alive.
You're right.
See your daughter walk down the aisle, last longer. We're talking about. Fair enough.
Yeah, but like we're not. I was like, oh, so what? Like you're running or something like that? He's like, no, I want to last longer in bed. I'm like, dude, I think you're in the wrong place. He's like, you're a fitness coach. I was like, do you know any exercises to help me last longer? He's like, every time I'm with a girl, it's literally like 1 second and I'm finished. And I was like, dude.
You're like, if you find the answer within fitness, can you let me know? You're like, I think you're on the wrong call. But if you find out,
here's my number.
Yeah,
we've got
slide back in.
And find out I've got a group chat of coaching lads. If you can just drop it into there. Oh, that's good.
Oh.
To be fair,
that was good.
If you do enough, you're going to get some of those. Like I remember, yeah, fuck it. We're not. I suppose we're not holding punches in the way that we're speaking. But one of the consultations that I had that properly like just put me back was it was a client asking for a better cum gutter, and that was the exact terminology. Apparently, I had no idea that this was a thing, but that is the split between your abs in certain communities. Yeah, you can figure that one out for yourself. But
oh my Lord.
Yeah, that was an interesting couple of months.
Learn something every day.
Yeah. There's a term.
Yeah, I feel like some people don't have a filter. Like,
well, this is the thing,
within this game, they don't. You get the ones that are just completely like, open. They'll speak, and you'll just hear it all. And it's like, I feel like that makes us a bit more like, okay, like anything we hear now, we're like, okay, fair enough. Yeah. Like, no matter how bad it is, this could be horrendous.
Very rare that I'm getting.
All right.
Because if you've been in it for long enough, you're going to get those stories, aren't you?
Yeah. You realize how everybody is messed up. Everybody's got their own stories.
Yeah, one of the best things. I think this is the single biggest thing that I miss from gym floor PT is just having a staff room full of PTs. Because if there's 30-40 sessions per day, between every coach, there's always a class story that a client shared with you, like something they've got up to at the weekend or whatever. And one of the best stories that unfortunately is not my client, because this guy's an absolute legend, but big man was dieting to look better and level up his confidence, because he was single and was wanting to get back on the dating market, and everything was going well. And coach was telling us this story. He's like, "You're going to love this. This is the single best story." And he got the green light to share it as well, because he's like, "This story's too good to keep under wraps." But he goes back in, he's like, "I'm not telling you it just now. Let's wait till we've got like a proper spare hour." And we're all sitting, wanting to hear this story, and we get it's like getting the coffees in, sitting down, chatting about it. But yeah, like I said, so the boy the whole point was to get back on the dating market and feel confident in himself, and it was going well. He's looking good, and he started to bag himself some dates on Tinder. But from Glasgow, and one of those dates was in I think it was Manchester. So he's getting the train down. Now, first date in a while. He's all prepped. He's all hyped about it. He's locked everything in. The haircut's been done. Like moisturized everything. He's locked in. He's got the game plan on the go, and got a new outfit. Everything for it. All the stops have been pulled out, and he's on this train on the way down. And he'd bought some like new jeans and stuff, and he had filled up. He got lunch before he was heading down, or dinner, whatever it was that we were going out for drinks. And something he'd ate wasn't.
I've just remembered this story.
That's what this was for. Something he ate didn't sit well in his stomach, and he's like, I'll be all right. I'll hold it in. We'll be good. Didn't want to go in the train toilet. So he's holding this in, and it's like it's a couple of hours on the train to Manchester, from Glasgow. So he's holding this in, and eventually he gets to the point where he's like, right, could I just like nip out and like change in one of these stations or something and then get back on the train. He's obviously getting desperate with this, and he decides obviously against that plan because it's not the smartest. Like, you're not going to make that train back. So then what happens is that eventually it gets to a breaking point where he's like, I've got no, like, I'm either going to shit myself here in this seat, or I'm going to have to just go in the toilet in the train. And what happened was basically on the way to the toilet, he did shit himself.
Oh my God.
And then he gets into the toilet and he's like, I'm absolutely mortified. I can't believe this. Like, I'm going on this first date and I've just shit myself. But thankfully, like I said, he was so hyped about it that he bought a new outfit. So he gets himself into this toilet and he cleans himself up. And he threw his, I don't know how he managed to do this within the train toilet, but he threw his like soiled jeans away. He shit his jeans and he managed to throw them away in like the bin or whatever. And he goes into his bag to pull out his new outfit. He's like, cleaned himself up, sorted everything out. Pulls out his t-shirt, puts on his new t-shirt, pulls out boxes, puts on his new boxes, sorts everything out, and then goes to pull out his new jeans. And he'd packed a denim jacket. So the only jeans that he had were the jeans that were outside shit, covered in
Oh my God.
or a denim jacket. So that was his two options. And he's going to meet this date in Manchester. Never met her before.
Well, surely it's off by this stage.
Oh,
Surely
no.
it's
This is why this guy's an absolute hero. So he basically told her that he'd left his jeans and he'd packed a denim jacket. I don't know how he managed to swindle it on the other side, but basically what he'd done is he messaged her he asked us, like, listen, this is the weirdest request ever, but can you go to like a Zara or whatever and just pick up some jeans? So she met, when they got into Manchester, met her at the station with some fresh jeans with a denim jacket wrapped around the waist.
Oh my God, that is so class.
Fair play to him. That's commitment.
Fair play for that. Yeah. I would not know how you were pulling back from that after shitting yourself on the train. I think I'd just stay in the toilet until it's just
For the rest of your life.
Nobody would ever hear from me again if that happened. I can't believe he's managed to turn that around. Do you know the outcome of the date?
Yeah, how did the date go?
I was like, tell me what happened. Like, was it a successful date? But yeah, unfortunately not. We didn't get any feedback off the back.
Maybe it was that. Maybe the fact that he turned up looking like he was wearing a denim skirt because he had shit himself. I wonder if he had explained it as well. Be like, so I did come in trousers, but they're no longer feasible to wear.
I mean, like,
I've got so many follow-up questions.
I wish this was my personal story so that I could actually fill in the blanks, because it's one of those ones that lives in my head, because I'm like, exactly that. I want to know the rest of this. But yeah, that was one of the best staff room stories that I've ever heard. Unreal.
Fair play to him from that. Like, when you're in that situation, that is I feel like that's a life or death situation. I have to say, I've not had a client in that situation, but I have been in that in myself when I was over in Sydney training, and I was like there on my own, cruising through Sydney Centre. Was in the gym previously. It was like, belly's feeling a bit squiff. Not sure what's going on here. Halfway through the session, I was like, nah, I'm not feeling too well. I'm not feeling this session. I'm going to go home. The where I was staying, the hotel was literally just straight down Sydney Centre. I've started walking back and I was like, my belly has just taken a turn for the worst. Actual pain at this point was like, oh dear God, this is a dropping point. So something's happening. When you do that like brisk walk, that was happening, where you feel like you're trying to hold a walnut between your legs, like, and while trying to walk. Anyway, I've got to that, and now at this point, this is physical pain, level 10 pain, and I'm like, I'm gonna go. I'm about to go, and it was either I was about to shit in the middle of Sydney Centre, town centre, or luckily. Or I was just going to shit myself. I was just going to accept it for what it was, and it was just going to happen. Fortunately, there was this pub, literally, I just scouted it because it was all just like shops and stuff. So there wasn't even like the option for a toilet. just scouted it, went flying through this door, straight past the bar. They were like, "You're right, mate." Literally like, "No time for you." In. God knows the sound that it was way too much information for this, but yeah, fair play for him wrapping that one around because I had no dignity after that. I thought I was about to shit in the centre of Sydney Centre. So in the street.
You know what? Like, if I heard that story firsthand in terms of like somebody still committing and going through with that date, there's nothing as embarrassing as it would be firsthand. There's nothing embarrassing about that story secondhand. I'm like, do you know what? My estimate is went
hero.
Up.
Yeah,
you have committed to that cause.
Yeah.
Turns out they're married now, and he still never told her.
That's what I was waiting for, to be honest. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for them to be like, yeah, they're still together. They've got 2 kids.
How I Met Your Mother story, that isn't it? Yeah,
and for your 18th birthday, I want to give you this family relic denim jacket.
It's got like patches on it from all the dates. Standing. Yeah,
there's a rabbit hole.
If you train, yeah, there's a rabbit hole of shitting yourself.
There's a rabbit hole.
If anyone listening, if you ever train for a marathon, you'll have some close calls.
Yeah, that's me.
That's it.
Those gels.
Oh.
And if anyone's a gymnast or a trampolinist on here as well, I can relate. Don't be doing that on a same story on that. You know, it's unpredictable drop-in. That is bad. We've come off of clients.
I've got another one that is firsthand. That is one of the best stories that any client's ever told me. But I don't want to hog it. So let's see if we've got anything else we want to.
Are we going client face here? Or are we going with us stuff that we've done? What do you want?
It can be both. Like, so essentially, what I wanted to run through is some of the best stories that you've heard from PT, like that you've been working. So, I've got one that I find fantastic.
Yeah, I've one of the worst things that ever happened to me was I wasn't even that old. I remember my best mate Johnny was spotting me. I was going for a big lift, and everyone in the gym had stopped to like watch me hit this PB because we were training like a little strength conditioning club. And rep 1 fine, rep 2 fine, rep 3. My shorts were very tight, put it that way. And I go down in the squat, my shorts just go like literally rip like from front to back. But I somehow managed to get the squat back up. Johnny was absolutely no use for spotting me behind me because I'm absolutely howling because my shorts are ripped.
That's because he's got your shorts over his face.
but everyone, I turned around, everyone just looked horrified.
Hanging at the back.
No, mate, I was up. Everyone thought I'd shit myself.
Dude, I got everyone very, very similar story actually. So back when I was in uni,
I didn't shit myself. My shorts had just ripped, but
I used to run a weightlifting club when I was in uni, Olympic lifting, and so like almost every day you're squatting to every session you're squatting to some degree, and like I'd stupidly not done my washing at all, so I didn't actually have any proper training shots, but I had some swimming shots. And I went in, I was like, you know what, I'll just do it. And like, boys, that you do not squat in swimming shorts. They're just not built for the range that you need on a squat. And obviously with squatting so much as well, my legs were a little bit bigger, and they just weren't, there was no giving these shots whatsoever. So I was front squatting, and luckily for me, it was only, I want to say like 60 or 80 kilo. It was like a first or second warm-up set on the bar, dropping into a front squat. And I can still hear the snap. It was like an elastic snap as the shot is just split from back right up to front. But you know yourself, like swimmers, you don't wear boxes underneath swimmers. They've got a little like built-in netting. And yeah, sadly for me, I was the coach at the time as well. I was like, right, guys, you're gonna have to take this session yourself because I'm not free balling this session. Just like as they start, as I'm warming up. Joys.
The problem of quads.
Yeah, I don't have that issue at the minute, mate.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
Squatting's a dangerous game.
There was a coming back onto a client story, one that's just popped to mind. Actually, it came off the back of what we were talking about earlier in terms of like, you know, when a client just starts looking good, starts like feeling himself, getting more confident, and so on. We were this is one of my in-person clients. We got on really well, so we'd sort of like have the lad chat, speak about obviously the dating scene, the relationships, and so on. And he was feeling a lot more confident at this point, and he was seeing somebody for a while at the time, and he came in and he was just absolutely fuming one day. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, what's that? It's just been the weekend. Like, you've just said that you've been out and about. I thought, like, because I'd spoke to him that weekend as well. He knew that he was going out. I was like, what the hell is going on here? He's literally like pacing in the gym and he's like, I honestly can't believe this. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, so you know that girl I've been seeing? I was like, yeah. He was like, so I went out with her this weekend, right? And we bumped into this other girl that I've been like talking to. And I was like, sorry, hang on a minute, what? And he was like, yeah, like since I've been looking better, feeling a bit more sharp, like I've been a little bit more like active on the dating scene, on the social. Anyway, come to light that he's now multitasking, speaking to multiple different people, and he'd gone out on this night out, and there was two of them there, and he was with obviously one of them, taking them out on this thing, and the other one had bumped into him and been like, what the hell is this? And he's come to me with the session to be like, he's raging because this girl's kicked off at him. And he's like, I can't believe she's kicking off like that. Like, what? And I was like, what do you want me to say here? I was as if like I'm trying to justify that he's in the right in this situation because he's fuming that he's double dating and it's not then gone to plan.
Yeah, that's not okay at all.
No. He was fully like pacing the gym, like, I can't believe she got annoyed at that. Like, who the hell does she think she is? Like, because he's seen her earlier in the week and now he's on a date with this other girl that he's been seeing for the past God knows how many months because he's feeling himself now. He's feeling a bit more sure of himself. And now this is apparently the new norm. This is what he does. And I was like, I'm not condoning this. Do not bring me.
Do they even know I train 3 days a week?
Yeah. You know what I'm deadlifting now.
Oh, I'd pay to be a fly on the wall to see you on that. You're not very hold your words too well.
No, I don't. No, I let him have it.
You can see it quite well in your face. So be a fly on the wall.
I didn't know what to come through with that. He was fully raging. Like I would say, yeah, it's not even a funny story, that one. It was just like just one of those bizarre stories that happens with clients. And it's like, oh my gosh. But one a little bit more so on me back early in the PT days, we'll say this is. We went to we had a boys' holiday in Ibiza and absolutely sent it for 7 days straight. So obviously wasn't feeling too fresh by the end of it. I thought we'd give it a few days afterwards. Obviously, you don't work immediately after coming back from Ibiza. You just don't do that to yourself. So you give it about 3 or 4 days. Anyway, I gave it 7, thinking we'll allow a good amount of time. So 2 weeks out at this point. First week was Ibiza full send. Second week was at home crying to my mum that I'm not all right. Then got in on the weekend, had a full book, had a full diary of people booked in, right? And when I PT, right, I like to show up. Okay, I like to show up, professional caps on. I take my clients through
every session.
Thorough sessions. Anyway, one of the first clients that I had knows what it's about, right? Loves Ibiza, goes all the time and so on. Got halfway through the session, she was just like, you're not all right, are you? I was like, oh God. I was like, is it that bad? I'm trying to mask the fact that I am feeling ropey I'm standing there wobbling while she's obviously like training. She's taking her through her sessions. I'm struggling to count to 10 and it's just not all right. And yeah, she was like, you're not fine. And I was like, is it bad? And she was like, yeah. I was like, oh God. It's just like, I'm really sorry. I'm not okay. I thought I'd be all right by now, but I'm not. 2 days ago, I was crying at Happy Feet. Now, I thought at this stage I'll be all right. But it was when in the group chat, the boys were like, is anybody else just crying for random stuff? So I was like, that makes me feel better that I wasn't alone. But that wasn't my finest hour, I have to say.
I didn't go through the same trouble firsthand, but I went on a stag do to Magaluf, full send with the boys. You know, it is a stag do. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like there's no peppermint teas on a stag do, is there? So we're out there for a couple of days, and it worked out much cheaper for me to just fly direct to London for a job interview after it, rather than come home and then go back. Very bold idea to decide and go for what I had at the time. You know, the job was on a pedestal. I really wanted it. Great space to be PTing from and whatnot, and you know, very prestigious. And but you know, I'm not going to not go to one of my good friends' stag do's for it, just off the back of this. So I was like, I'll make it work. We'll get there. And so I fly straight from this. I've barely got a voice, you know, it is what it is. I've got a great tan though. And so I rocks into...
You're in.
Yeah, I rocks into this. And you know, it's like your interviews in and of themselves are always like a semi-high pressured thing, right? So I'm thinking, make sure you're sharp, Kev. Make sure that you've got a good flow to at least what you're talking about, and that's it, right? That's the least you can do. Show up semi-presentable and have some flow about yourself. But I'm shitting myself because when I go down this elevator, it opens and there's like 30 PTs there, because the timing of my interview was literally in the middle of a team meeting. So it opens the door and I'm like, well, at least I look good. You know, I've got the tan, I've got the shirt on the go, we're good to go. And receptionist shows me to the gym floor, basically just says, grab a seat on a bench, they're in an interview just now. And so I'm sitting there, trying not to sweat through this baby blue shirt, whilst there's like 30 PTs, like half watching the presentation, half trying to see who's the new guy getting the interview. And then just to my left, the door swings open and it's just like 3 guys just usher this young boy out, and like he's flopping about, like head rolling, and they just put him into the warm-up area and put him into the recovery position. And like what happens is, it turns out is that interview is like I think it was the 4th or the 5th stage of that interview process, and the point of it is to grill you on your programming. So they grilled this little boy, and they just said he shut down like Windows 98. He was like shut down in front of them because of the pressure. And I'm sitting there like just off the back of this stag do, second guessing myself at the best of times, trying not to sweat through this shirt because there's a crowd in front of me. And then this guy just fucking passes out the interview in front of me. I was like, I'm gonna need to do some mental gymnastics to keep myself cool here. Like, I went back in and I was like literally the first 2 lines that I said was just like, guys, I've got a train to catch. Can you not do that to me? Also, kind of missing my voice, but I've got a great tan. I've been on a stag do. Please bear with. And I think they appreciated the transparency. At least I didn't pass out. Good. You know what I mean? But the thing is, right, is we always compare. So it doesn't matter if my interview was bang average. If I didn't pass out, I'm leveled up above the guy in front of me. So it's like, I didn't think about that until after the fact. I was like, do you know what?
Expectation is a lovely thing.
Next thing that could have happened. Their baseline was like here after that.
You set the bar pretty low for you.
Yeah, 100%.
You've gone in with banter there. I rate that. You've settled the nerves with banter. Seeing that, I would have been like, oh my God, what's going on here?
The worst part about it is we always just like see when the boy came back through, they gave him like coconut water. You know what it's like if you've ever had like really low blood sugar and you get really lightheaded and dizzy, like it's not horrible. It's not always that dangerous, but you're not fully compos mentis. Like you're not there to start with. You're a bit out of it. And like it came through with these coconut water. And you know that it was just because there was like 30 plus trainers just sitting there, like he's just passed out on an interview. I was like, oh, that boy must want the ground to just swallow him up. That's not
that's no good. This is throwing it way back in the day when I used to be a lifeguard. We used to get like the lifeguards come in for their training, and part of their interview was that they had to do like a timed swim. And one of them literally leapt in, whistle went straight through, made it the first length, came back, pulled up halfway and literally just spewed like halfway across the pool. It was horrendous just in this interview. And we were like, okay, he's not passed then. Don't think he's going to be cut for the job.
You get seasick.
Not a natural affinity for it at all.
That's a danger zone, that.
Oh,
it's a horrible position to be in. I know the place that you spoke about, Kev, there as well. It's an absolute establishment. So you are feeling the pressure. I remember not an interview process, but client story here. So when I first started, and I like to be fair, this is actually my coaching style anyway. But as I said, like I will push my clients hard, right? But when I was on the gym floor there, it was almost like I'd bring the energy, I'd bring the actual room's energy up as well. So when I was with clients, taking them to failure sets and so on, like I was loud, I had a presence. And I was known for taking the clients either on a leg press or on a leg extension and just absolutely obliterating them. And there was one of them to be like absolutely trembling. There was on the leg extension, already taken them to failure at this point. They were shaking, legs are trembling. They're like, Alex, I can't do any more. And I'm like, I just get in their face and I'm like, you've got at least 10 more. Literally, they're like absolutely screaming at this point. I'm basically just picking their legs up and just dropping them down, carrying them on. They're making the most noise out of anybody in this gym. They've gone to get up, step out of it. Both legs have just buckled underneath them and just literally hit the deck straight away. God knows what it would have looked like from their perspective. But I've just gone cruising off down the gym like, yeah, that's what, welcome. This is the point that we're going to take you to.
When you're a young PT as well, like that's what you think is actually the most beneficial to do, is like push your client to the hardest you can possibly. And it's not like genuinely, like we know this now, it's not always the most productive thing that you do. Like I literally had a client set up the other day, and that's yesterday. Was one of the things that I said is like you've not been training for the last year and a half. It's like, we don't need to do the same style. Like you're on a full body split so that you can get the most out of your training week, not just the session, you know? But I was very much the same. Like I remember when I came back from London, and I had a proper, like, I've got a point to prove. I want to be the best PT in Glasgow, head and shoulders. And it was the same mentality, just like push every client as hard as you possibly could, you know, and it's more often than not, it can be counterproductive. Like there's definitely a space for pushing it as hard as you can, but not for somebody that's day one and just in the door, you know. And I remember doing that, and literally one of my clients, Steve, what a great guy, man, like a lot of time for him. But first session, like spewed all over his dashboard and in the car after the session, and he told me that, and I was like, yeah, I probably should tone it down a little bit. Like there is no benefit to those extra 2 reps if they make you spew in your dashboard. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I coached a lady, and she was like, my son wanted to basically join the Marines. And she was like, he needs a reality check. He's not fit enough. He's not ready to do it. She's like, can I bring him for a session? And basically, can you fuck him up?
fair enough.
Challenge accepted.
Mate, this woman, she's like, he just needs a reality check. He needs to realize that if he actually wants to do it, it needs to work. So kid comes in, kid's 17 years old. And I'm like, oh, you're in for it. You're fucking in for it here, mate. Bear in mind, this is back when I used to PT in my mum and dad's house in a shed in the garden.
I've just got this. I've got the Ian Beale meme. So I've got nothing left.
Oh yeah.
Basically, the mum had booked a 45-minute session. He lasted 3.5, and then it was on his hands and knees puking in mum and dad's flower bed. And then he was literally lying there, like hugging the bottom of the tree for the rest of the 45 minutes.
Just nurturing it.
Like I've been there myself. Like,
yeah.
Oh, mate, I've been there as well.
The first ever like programmed diet thing that I done was I think it was called Final Phase Fat Loss. It was basically just a 6-week program, but they had it was this training style called density training. Absolute nonsense, right? Like zero benefit to it whatsoever. But the sales pitch off the back, the guy was a great copywriter, so the sales pitch, I was mentally bought into this method of training being phenomenal. Basically, the split was, bro. Yeah, there were different styles of training every day of the week, right? And I think it was like the Thursday was density training. And to just give you a bit of like idea of what that actually is, right? Because we know it's a lot of nonsense. But basically, you had to pick.
What do you mean?
Yeah, happy to. But you had to pick a weight on an exercise, right? And then what you had to do, you were doing 3 sets for it. You would start a timer, say it was like 90 seconds or whatever, and you would do as many reps as you could on that set. And then the next set, you had to do more reps. And then the next set, you had to do more reps. So you had to basically best yourself for 3 times. But there was like a prescription for how heavy the weight actually had to be, depending on what you could lift. So you couldn't even cop it out and just go super light and just bang them all out. But it got to the point where the limiting factor on any exercise that you were doing was always your heart runs. Yeah, you're just ready to spew your ringer after like 3 sets, and then you've got like 12 exercises or something to get through. It was just hard works for hard work's sake, right? But literally every single Thursday for that entire diet period, head was in the bin. Head was in the bin every single time, chundering every way. And it's like there is zero benefit to that whatsoever. But I mean, at the time I was just like, yeah, nobody's not like the Rocks mentality. I'm the hardest worker in the fucking room.
I will spew and keep going.
Yeah,
I feel like we've all been there. Everybody's been there in their,
like
in their
I've got 15
training
seconds
journey.
left.
Yeah, I'm going for it. I remember when I was doing CrossFit, I was playing around that. 2 stories on that actually. When I first started doing CrossFit, going from conventional sort of like bodybuilding style gym into that, I knew the owner of the place, and he was like, "Oh yeah, like he was like, you're pretty strong. Like I know you're going to be fit. We'll chuck you with these guys." It was on a Saturday session, so it was like a lively session, music up, energy's high. Chuck me in with the big boys. I was like, all right, okay, like settle down. I know this is a bit different style of training, exactly the same thing. My competitiveness obviously came out as well. I had to be keeping up. By the end of it, I was an absolute costume of a man. It was just ridiculous. I was sat in the corner, not knowing what to do with myself because I didn't know whether I was going to collapse, have a heart attack, be sick, shit myself. Could have gone either way. Either way,
there's a common theme here with Alex.
Either way, any situation I've been in, I've almost, it's like my go-to mechanism for stress. No, it's not. I can handle myself a little bit better than that. Anybody listening, I can handle myself. Don't worry. I'm well established now. I know how to deal with myself.
The worst thing I ever had of like fitness was a pre-season with rugby. Bear in mind there was 47 lads on this sand dune. There was 42 were sick.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
Mate, and we were literally there. I've been boys running up a sand dune just puking over themselves and just going on running. It's the most horrendous thing I've ever seen in my life. But
fair play for keep going. I'm out. As soon as I start, it's like people on a night out.
Stopping wasn't a choice.
Yeah. Fair. I rate that. I mean, I kind of rate it kind of fucked up.
It's completely fucking stupid, but it's,
ridiculous when you do a little bit of peer pressure as well, isn't it?
It's like when lads do it on a night out, though, complete tangent, just spew on a night out, they're like, just have a little mop up and then keep going. And it's like, I don't know how you do that. I get to that. Yeah, a little tactical quick one. My mate used to do it on repetition, mate, every night out. Every night out, he'd have a quick one at prees. It was part of it.
Make room for more, isn't it?
At prees, and then out he goes.
Mate, play rugby for 10 years and a tactical tacky chunder becomes a becomes a tool.
I've only ever done one tactically before, and it was exactly what you just said there. It was rugby boys. I went to Edinburgh for uni, and like the first night out that I went through with the rugby boys through there because I joined. I went direct into third year at uni. So these boys had already kind of knew each other. I got on well with them through lifting. I've never really played rugby at all, but I got on well with them through lifting, and they invited me out to a night out, and it was like over to one of the lads' house, and they're like, right, if you're coming out with the boys, like rugby culture, you need to do something to get involved. So they made me a dirty pint, and it was like basically like a pint of beer. Then it was like Bisto, there was like some chili sauce in there, just absolute nonsense. And it was that was my first drink of the night. I'd literally just turned up to the house, and they're like,
yeah, it's the worst part.
Come out unless you take this pint. And I was just like, fuck's sake, boys, like not about foreplay goes a long way here, you know what I mean? Like could at least ease me into this. And
then the ego took over, and you're like,
yeah, but then obviously straight away I was like, come on,
lads,
boys, yeah. And so I sent it. Like God knows what was actually in there, but it tasted absolutely horrendous, like granules of Bisto and stuff like that in my teeth. Fantastic. And I just thought to myself, I was like, if this sits in my stomach, there's no way that this night is not going to end in a good way. So it's like just played it casual for the next 5 minutes, opened another beer, and then literally just went to the toilet for a tactical. And I was just like, yeah, that's not ruining my experience, my night out. It's like, and to be fair, if you've ever done a pint of lager and Bisto, it comes up quite easy. You don't need much encouragement.
I can imagine, mate.
I've been there.
I feel like we're going on the tangent of night out stories here. This is going to get sloppy.
Like to bring it back, we'll bring it back. We'll keep this semi-PG, right? But this is the single best first-hand story that I've ever heard from a client. Sadly, he's not directly involved. It's one of his best mates. But this is phenomenal. It's a little bit of a longer story, but thankfully it was on a client night out, which I'm looking forward to this Saturday for, in case we get any more of these to put into the bank. But anyway, getting straight to it, client social butterfly, got tons of different friends from every different groups, right? And one of his mates was she's a cheerleader, like as one of her hobbies. She don't know what you would say, is it a squad? Like anyway, she was a cheerleader, she's a dancer, a very good looking girl, and she's got a lot of different, like, she got about a little bit, right? She was the wild one of two sisters, and her other sister, like proper Christian family, like raised, married young and all this kind of things. And she was like the family rebel. But she'd moved city, moved back in with her parents. She had a lot of racy underwear, and then just her mum was doing her washing, and she found a lot of stains on her washing. And we know what kind of stains we're talking about here. Yeah. And basically she was like, right, okay, it's a bit strange, because she's like, I can't imagine she would have just left them like lying about, you know, all stained and stuff. And she was doing a bit of a cleaning, and she found like stains on the sets inside the drawers. And like there's only one guy in the house, and she'd noticed that she didn't have any partners over, and she wasn't going out as much, you know, so there was no way in which these stains could be getting from her with partners. So she accused the dad of, you know, doing the Johnson on top of his daughter's sets. And like, for obvious reasons, the dad's going to fly off the handle, and he's like, what are you talking about? Of course I would never do that, you know, because basically the mom is basically saying, are you masturbating on your daughter's sets here, right?
That's fucked up.
And but so the two of them are puzzled, right? They're like, what's going on here? Mom's still a little bit suspicious, and but they're like, right, how do we get to the bottom of this? So Mum washed every single set that she possibly had and put them all back in, and again that happened. So they were like, oh, I really don't know how to play this. I don't know how do we even bring this up?
A wanking ghost.
Yeah, basically some poltergeist. But basically they were like puzzled about how to bring it up, because I mean, goes without saying, quite a sensitive thing to say.
Yeah.
So rather than bring it up straight away, the mum actually confides in her sister, which is the auntie, and she's like, you're not going to believe this. The same fucking things happened to me. Like I've noticed that myself. I just didn't put anything, like didn't put any stock in it. Like I just thought, I was like, maybe I was being a bit like mental with this, not too sure. And anyway, so they then the auntie comes over and they chat to the dad, and they're like, right, what's going on here? And so then they do confront daughter about it, and they're like, right, what's going on? Like, what's happening here? This is what's happening. Your mum's washed these sets. It's happened multiple times, right? And she hadn't even realized that this was happening at all the entire time. So she's like, what the fuck is going on? Now they were like, right, okay, clearly you've been bringing guys over, you've been sneaking something, like what's going on here, right? And they're like, and she's adamant that like nothing's happening here. Now here's where the story actually takes a little bit of a turn, because the quiet sister was married, and the guy, the brother-in-law was they found out it was the brother-in-law. Now the reason that they found it out is because the auntie, now they obviously couldn't pin this on them, but it was like the only other person that they were kind of suspicious about. But the auntie had previously had a stalker, and had then just fitted her house out with CCTV.
Oh.
And how they caught it was they washed all of the sets, and they asked him to go and walk the dog, and he walked the dog, and then they've got CCTV footage of him fully donned out, fully kitted out in the set, walking about the house. And then putting the set back. And so then they were like, right, how the fuck do we say this to our daughter? Because it turns out the husband has been doing this, and the sisters and the aunties. And yeah, so long story short, basically they bring everybody, full family intervention, and you know, not quite your common Sunday roast, is it? But
around the table.
Around the table. And they were like, right, this is the situation. You've got absolutely no means of denying it. We've got CCTV footage. The boy just turned around and went, "Yeah, I've got a problem. I've had it since I was a kid." I was like, "What? Like,
Wait, what? He just puts this underwear on?
Yeah,
What?
puts it on, strolls about the house, and then sees himself off in it.
Oh my God, that is.
And yeah, just turned around like blasé. He was like, "Yeah, I've got an issue.
No.
It's something that floats my boat, and that is what it is. What it is." So, needless to say, that the sister was divorced straight away. Like, he was exiled for the family, and I was like, that has got to be one of the most wild stories that I've ever heard in my life. Like,
oh mate,
I feel so bad.
I feel like that's a Netflix series.
Yeah, I was going to say it is. It is. Yeah,
wow.
so it's up there.
Wow.
It's up there. I was like, you know that way that Clint was telling me about it, and I was just like, he knows it firsthand as well. So there was more layers to it than I've just told. But I was just like, you genuinely could make a series out of this. This is the most wild. This is like what's his name? Joe Exotic, fucking Tiger King level madness. Like you some EastEnders nonsense here. Like, but yeah.
I can't believe that, mate. What do you even say back to that? I don't even know what to say back to that now. Like,
see you in the next episode.
Just taking notes.
Taking notes.
Sherlock Searle.
But like, yeah, like genuinely, what do you do with that? Like, that's a family destroyer right there, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
Madness, man. Absolute madness.
Fair play for just being like, yeah, it's a real problem I've had for a while though. Owning it. I rate that. It's the denial. If he denied it, if he denied it. No, if he denied it, then it'd be like, there's me, like, that's the nice guy in me. I'm like, fair play. Owned up to it. No, that's not me condoning it.
There's owning up to it and there's owning it.
Yeah, true. Owning it, yeah, that's very true. Actually, there's owning it proudly.
Man with the denim jacket, he gets the confidence off the back of it.
Fair enough. Yeah,
you're out. You're off the team.
You're out. That one. You're out the chat.
So there's that.
I like it.
You can let that.
Kev drops his mic and leaves the Zoom call.
Yeah,
just out. Yeah. So,
well, fellas, that was entertaining.
End it on that note.
Yeah, just a spiel of whatever that was. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe.
If you don't want this content being dropped on this post, other than don't spill on your dashboard, you don't need to do that.
Don't spill on your dashboard. Don't shit yourself. Always pack a spare pair of jeans. And if we won't even comment on the last story.
If you've got any stories to share, then drop it to _recomp online.
Boom. See you in the next one, fellas.
Love it.